Hello, my fellow nerds, and thanks again for watching another episode of Nerdboy Gaming. I am Nerdboy81. Well, we just had the Xbox Direct 2024, or at least the first Direct of 2024 for Xbox that showcased 5 different games, all coming potentially this year. So in this video, I wanted to take a look at the games, which ones I'm excited about, which ones are going to make my list, and talk a little bit about one that I feel like was missing, which I think is a little bit of a bummer because it probably means it's not coming in 2024. So let's strap in, let's dive in, and let's talk about these games in order of how they were presented during the Direct. Again, this is not going to be a super deep dive. I'm just talking about each game, a little bit about what I liked, and kind of give you an idea of games that I'm excited for and what I think looks good for the future of Xbox and gaming in 2024. So we're going to start with the first game from Obsidian Games, which would be Avowed. Now, I've seen a couple different trailers in the past. I think it was in the summer showcase that we saw a little bit around Avowed. So this was a little bit of a deeper dive, really focused a lot on combat. And Avowed looks really good. Avowed is definitely a fantasy action RPG that is in my wheelhouse. Those are the types of games that I generally really enjoy. So I'm actually really excited for Avowed. I'm excited to see when it comes, and it's coming on Game Pass sometime in the fall of 2024. And there are definitely some games that I've really enjoyed from Obsidian in the past, games like Fallout New Vegas, which is maybe one of my favorite Fallout games. And then The Outer Worlds was another game that I really enjoyed from Obsidian. Admittedly, though, I only got about 20 hours in, but I did really enjoy it. And while this showcase definitely featured a lot of combat, talked a lot about it, it looks like it's going to be fun. Different loadouts, seamless transitions between fighting styles. Combat is not probably my forte. It's not the number one thing. It's not the thing that makes a game the most important to me, but it is certainly something that can make a game very fun. And at times, Avowed, the combat looked a little bit sluggish or maybe even a little bit rough, but it also at other times looked really good. I felt like with the wand, the dual wielding wand, and the magic, and then into melee with the sword, where they freeze the character or they freeze the bad guy and then they kill him with the sword. I thought that looked really nice, and definitely the dual wielding with the wands look really nice. I definitely got a Hogwarts vibe from the wands. They look like they're going to be customizable, or at least they're certainly different from the various different screenshots or the different clips of them using it. It looked snappy. It looked fun. It looked like combat may be challenging at times, but it also looks like you're going to get to be a little bit strategic in how you manage it. But for me, what I'm really excited about, and they didn't really dive too deep into this, but it was something that I think is going to be there based on Obsidian's past, is the choice and consequence in a game like this. And they talk about it in a side quest. They give a specific side quest. Honestly, it felt like it was a little bit choppy in that section, and I felt like at the end of the day, they could have dove a little bit deeper into the choice and consequence. I feel like they even cut out some of the dialogue options. But at the end of the day, it does appear that there's going to be at least some choices you're going to make, and then the consequences of those actions will be far-fetched or will be felt within the game when you return to the city or to the town where in this particular instance where you return to the town and you're going to feel the decisions you made. That to me is something that I really like in games. I've always been a big fan of choice and consequence in game. I'm always good with choice as long as there's consequence. And I think that's something that at times games do really well and other times they don't. I felt like in Fallout New Vegas that was done very well. The Outer Worlds, I probably didn't get far enough into the game to really feel the consequences of the choices, but I definitely was stressed by the choices of which way I was going to go in a particular quest and how I was going to handle it. So I am definitely excited for Avowed to come out in fall 2024. I think the game looks good. It's going to be in line. I thought the landscapes and some of the water mechanics, and I thought it looked really nice. I think the game is going to be pretty. It's definitely going to feel like a next-gen game with some really good graphics. I believe this game is going to be good. Obsidian has put out pretty good games in its past, so I've got high hopes that this is going to be a game that's really going to play well. It's going to be a fun game, and it's going to be that action fantasy RPG that we all love, or at least that I love, that I'm excited for. So Avowed, definitely 2 thumbs up. Excited for that. It's probably moving towards the top of my list of games that I'm excited to play in 2024. The next game that was showcased was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now, this is not a game that's going to be on my list. This is not a game that I'm necessarily interested in, but I will tell you this game looks amazing. It looks like it was done really well. The sound, the audio, the combat, it all looked really nice. And I think this game, if you've played Hellblades 1, you're going to probably love Hellblade 2. This game is probably right up your alley. It sounds like it's going to be a more shorter, narrative-focused experience, which for me is not necessarily what I love. Open world RPG type games that you can kind of lose yourself in. This seems like it's going to be a lot more linear and a lot more narrative focused. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a great game for those who played Hellblade 1. I think if you're into that series, you're going to like this. It seemed like the acting and the cinematics and just the game itself looks like it was good. Honestly, the more I watched the trailer, the more I was kind of like, okay, this might be a game that I'm interested in. It's just not going to probably hit my list. Look, I've got limited time on how much I can play games, so I can't put every game on my list, and I can't play every game. If somehow I had a magical amount of time, then yes, this game would probably be something I would dabble with, especially because it's on Game Pass. And I just think it looks so darn nice. The game looks like it's going to be really, really pretty. This game is coming May 21st, 2024. So those of you guys who have played Hellblades 1, this game is probably going to be right up your alley. It sounds like it's really going to focus on the story of Senua's Saga. It's going to really focus on her story and take it to that next level. Again, probably not a game that's going to hit my list, but certainly a game that looks like it's going to be really nice. And again, another Xbox Game Pass game that you can pick up and play without having to spend the $60 or $70 for the purchase. If I had time, this would hit the game, but it's probably on the lowest end. It's probably the game I was least excited about in the entire showcase. We've seen a lot on this game. It was obvious it was time that it had a release date. It's just we've seen a lot over the last year for this game. So definitely not my style of game, but certainly something that looks like if you've played the first one, the second one's going to be really great. And I feel like this is going to be a really pretty hard-hitting game. It looks like it's pretty emotional, very story-driven. Looks like it's going to be a good game, just not necessarily something that would be on my list. From there, we got, I guess, a surprise entry into the showcase. We really were expecting, or at least they had shared that there was going to be 4 games. There was a lot of leaks around what the 5th game would be, and it was Square Enix, Visions of Mana. For me, I have never played a Square Enix game. I know. I've never played Final Fantasy. I haven't. I've seen Kingdom Hearts, and maybe I played it a little bit with my niece once upon a time. But I have not played a lot of Square Enix games, or maybe any. So I can't speak too much to this game, but I can tell you from what I saw, it looked really neat. The art style is okay. It's not really my type of art style, but it certainly looks like it's going to be a fun game. The combat actually looked really nice with the air parries and, being able to, the various combat and the different creatures. They really talked a lot about the baddies in the game and what you're going to be facing, and those looks really neat. And honestly, the game looks like it's going to be a fun game, probably something that would hit my list, but it's going to be at the low end of my list. This was probably Hellblades was the least I was least interested in. This is probably my second least interested game, but certainly something that I would be curious about. And those who love Square Enix, who have played the Mana series, probably would love this game. Again, it sounds like there's going to be an amazing soundtrack, almost over 100 various songs, different enemies. The combat looked good. The story looks fun. If you're into that art direction, this is certainly a game that's probably going to play well for you. It's just not my cup of tea. But that being said, after watching the trailer, I could totally give it a chance. And what's really nice is this is a first for Xbox. This is a game that's going to be coming to Xbox. It's not exclusive. It's going to be the first time it's on this platform. And I think this is a really interesting concept to see at a developer direct, a non-exclusive Xbox game being shown off. I think it's good for gaming when we see more platforms getting more games and getting an opportunity for everybody to enjoy these games. And unless there's something crazy behind the scenes happening that we don't know about, I think it's exciting to see them showcase a game that's not necessarily an Xbox an Xbox exclusive or even a Game Pass game, but something that's going to be coming to the platform for the very first time. Who knows? It might be something I'd pick up, but because you have to purchase it, it's probably going to be it's probably on the very end of my list. And I have a long list of games to play because I have such limited time. So we'll see if we ever pick this game up. It's probably not going to be in the rotation, but it looked good. The combat looked good. The story looks good, and the music looks good. So I think this is good for gaming to see this at the Direct. From there, we went to Oxide Games, and we got Ara History Untold. Now, I'm a big fan of Civilization. Many of the creators were part of Civilization 5, and it shows in the trailer. This definitely screams Civilization or a variation of Civilization, a 4X type game. I think this looked really, really good. This has probably moved towards the top of my list. I didn't know anything about this game going in, and so seeing the trailer, seeing what this game's going to be, it is definitely going to be on my list. I love Civilization. Civilization is a great series. I'm worried about how much time Ara is going to suck away from my life, because if it's anything like Civilization, it's one of those games you play and then 7 hours later you're like, oh my God, I've been playing for 7 hours. But Ara looks like it's going to be a really good game. They've got some really unique things in it that I thought were going to be fun for this genre, like the strategy turn-based simulation type game. The idea of simultaneous turn-based, that would be unique. I've always played single player when I played Civilization, so I have played multiplayer before, and yeah, it can be a drag when you're waiting 10 or 15 minutes for your turn. So simultaneous turn will be unique, and that'd be a nice fun way to do it. The crafting system within the city looks fun. The live environments look like they're going to be a lot of fun. It just looks like overall, it looks like Civilization, but just a little bit different, and I'm really excited for this. This one is definitely catapulted towards the top of my list. And I'm for Ara, I think this is going to be great. I love Civilization. I can't tell you how much I love Civilization. This game is going to be something that I think I could spend a lot of time in, and I look forward to it. This is going to be coming in the fall of 2024. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a PC only game, so it's going to be on PC Game Pass. So if you've got the Ultimate Edition, you can get it, or if you just have PC Game Pass, you'll be able to play it. This will be on my list. Hopefully my computer will be able to run it, but this looked really great. I'm excited for Ara. This was, for me, ends up being maybe the number 2 game, Avowed being number 3. Square Enix's Vision of Mana number 4, and then Hell's Blade number 5. But this for me was probably the number 2 game of the showcase, something I'm super excited about. Really look forward to playing it. I'm a little bit worried that everything's stacking up for fall, but we'll figure it out. It probably is a game I won't be able to even play until 2025, just based on my timing. And then probably the game of the showcase, and a lot of people are talking about it, is Machine Games' Indiana Jones: The Great Circle. This is going to be launching sometime in 2024, supposedly. I have my questions. I'm going to talk about that. But all in all, this game looks good. It's a first-person game that allows you to cinematically move into third person during traversal of scenery or during cutscenes. I think that's a really great way to balance being the character. I typically play in first person, so playing as the character through the eyes of Indiana Jones, but then also being able to pull out and see the fedora and the whip and the jacket, and realizing that you are Indiana Jones in this. If this game is going to be good, it's going to be all about strategic puzzles, unlocking mysteries. Should be a lot of fun. The joke being that maybe this is why Starfield didn't get all the love it needed, is because Todd Howard this is clearly a passion project for him. I think this looks really good. Machine Games, I have not played Wolfenstein. I don't know of Machine Gun's gaming history, so I can't speak to what they've already done, but the game looked good. What they showed in the trailer looked good. They specifically showed a lot with the whip, which is iconic for Indiana Jones. And I would say if you're a fan of Indy, this is going to be a fun game. I know I've got family that dresses up as Indy. He, has played Indy at Disney. I think that this is a game, if you're an Indy fan, you're going to love it. It looked great. I especially loved the moment of distraction where you crack the whip and then you can sneak around a crate and then get the upper hand on a character. The snapping of the whip against the bad guys or pulling them to the ground. All of that stuff looked really great. I think the game is going to be a lot of fun. I think if what they said is true and that there's going to be some sneaking variants and some different ways to play each level or each moment, could give some replayability where you could either just go in guns blazing, or you could try to sneak around, or you could try to approach it as Indy. I think it's going to be a great game. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it. For me, this was probably the game of the showcase, as I think it is for many others. However, they mentioned this game is coming in 2024. There's a part of me that feels like there's a really high likelihood this game is going to be delayed, and it's actually going to be first quarter of 2025. And here's a couple of reasons why. During the trailer, they showed concept art. It's the only game that did that during all of the various showcases in this game. They were showing concept art. Maybe that's by design. It looked like a lot of the game was already built, but they were showing concept art, and that made me worried. And then the other part is every other game had fall, summer, or a specific date, and this just said 2024, meaning they haven't even finalized a release window yet. And lastly, this is the first time we've seen anything on Indiana Jones. In the summer showcase, we saw that it's coming, but it was like a 2-second trailer or something. So this was the first deep dive in it. And if you look at Hellblade or Avowed, how many times we've seen deep dives into the game and how many trailers we've seen, I think that there's a high likelihood that this is going to roll into 2025. Maybe I'll be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. For all you indie fans who really look forward to playing this game, I hope I'm wrong. But those were the 5 games that were showcased here. And when I really look at it, for me, I think Avowed is probably number one or number 2. Or Ara is probably number 1, number 2, and then Avowed, and then Indie, and then from there it was Square Enix, and then Hell's Blade. I think this was a good showcase for Xbox. It had a lot of great things going on, and certainly I think it looks like gaming is going to be in a good place in 2024. There was one game that I was really hoping was going to be a surprise addition to the showcase. They had kind of mentioned what games were going to be. There was going to be these 4 games they're going to showcase. Square Enix ended up being a surprise, but I was really hoping we were going to see a little bit from Playground Games' Fable. When you look at the summer showcase from last year, they never really gave a release date, but it was all in-game footage that they showed, and it looked amazing. So I was really hoping that in this early showcase of 2024, we would get a little bit of Fable, maybe a deep dive of Fable, and get a sense of if this is coming in 2024. The fact that it wasn't in this showcase, I don't know, for me kind of makes it feel like there's a high likelihood that it's looking like Fable is going to eventually be a 2025 game. Of course, it would have been great to see from Light No Fire, but I think Sean Murray at Hello Games has his own thing going on over there, and there's going to be its own release and its own launch windows. But for me, not seeing Fable was a little bit of a bummer, because I'm very curious and excited about what Fable could look like in 2024 or 2025 now. But all in all, the Xbox Direct looked like it was a lot of fun. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What games were you most excited about? What games resonated? Which ones didn't? What were your thoughts? And of course, if you're new here and you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue to be talking about games just like this Direct. If we see new trailers around some of these games, we'll be sharing that. Lots of excitement here, guys. Please do hit that thumbs up if you like this video. I do appreciate it. And as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about games. We're going to be talking about Light No Fire. We're going to continue our ARK playthrough. We're going to be working on a few more maybe video essays around gaming. Lots of more exciting things to come this year. Content may not come out as quickly this year, but I'm going to try to really focus on making better content around gaming. We'll still be coming frequently, but maybe not 3 times a week like I did last year. Those are going to be more from my playthrough from ARK, Starfield, and other games to come. So I'm very excited for what 2024 is going to hold. Hopefully now that I'm healthy again-ish, and we've had some challenges, we put those behind us, that this is going to be a fun year and a lot of exciting things to come. And until next time, guys, have a great day.